my next door neighbour, Mrs. Jewell, was a darling person, wasn't she? She was wonderful, and she used to help me an awful lot when I first came. And of course I had so many animals, and when we went away she took after all my animals, because it was known as Hanscombe Zoo. Very embarrassing, and people at the preschool used to come and visit me once a term to see what I got. I had enough of them, my God. People used to bring me, I can remember one day, a knock on the door, and this rather inebriated gentleman came and he said, "I've just found this in the main street," and he presented a little swan to me. Wow. And I had Fred for quite a long time. And first of all, I used to put him in the bath and he used to swim. Then he got his head under the water. And then when his whole body came under the water, I thought, no, we won't have him bath anymore, so I got the children's wading pool and put that with him. And one of the cats we had, one of the many cats we had, George, he was very friendly, very protective towards the swan. And I've got a photograph of the two of them in the kitchen eating a dish of surprise peas together. And a dog came in one day, and the cat flew at the dog because he thought it was going to hurt the swan. And then one day the swan took off, I didn't clip its wing, flew the house 3 times, and must say thank you very much and I'm going, and I never saw him again.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we used to have pictures in the hall that's here now every Saturday.
Any standout pictures that you remember?
And I can remember one of my favourite movies was Lassie Come Home.
Yeah.
And after seeing that movie, I always wanted a Lassie dog.
Did you get one?
No. We had the 4 Jecky boys. There used to be 4 brothers. And invariably there was Ian, and all those, and invariably the Jenkies were always the last there and usually running a few minutes late. And the Jenky boys would walk in and there'd be a war cry, "Okay, start it up, the boys are here." It happened every night, it never missed. It was just a war cry at the end for them to come. And I also remember the night that King George died. The picture was going fine, and all of a sudden it just stopped dead and everyone said, "Oh, it's broken down." And the next minute this voice said, "King George VI has just passed away." And that was how we knew that King George had died. This, deep voice coming over, and then the picture went back on.
And that was at the old hall.
Yeah, the old hall. Yeah. Oh yes, this is all the old hall I'm talking about.
The old hall, the picture shows at the old hall, they were absolutely unbelievable. You get down there to see the pictures and all sorts of things. Where was the hall? The hall was down where Winslow shop is now, and all the Wycliffe side of it rotted out because the guys were pretty nigh on going to the toilet right down the back, so they used the side of the hall and it rotted out, so it fell over.
Miss Prichter had a little lolly shop down by the hall for the picture theatre, where the picture theatre was. And at half time, when it was interval time, we'd all go into Miss Prichter's shop, and for 1 penny you would get a cigarette and a match, one of those. And we're only kids, we're only, under 10. And you go back into the pictures and sit next to Mum and she'd say, "You've been smoking." "Oh no, I've only been with the big boys, Mum."
We used to paint pennies silver and take them into Miss Prichter's and get 2 bob from them. She was, poor old dear, she was half blind.
Jack Tully was another character that used to hang around, but more out Staveley way. But when he was a kid, they used to go into Miss Prichter's and he'd say, "We'll give you a stamp for a lolly." And she'd give him a lolly and then he'd stamp on the floor and run out.
I could probably remember back about, probably 60 years ago when the place was pretty well alive with rabbits, and we used strychnine baits and with carrots or oats, and you pick up ute loads, truckloads of rabbits after they'd been poisoned. But this day and age, with a bit of 1080, a little bit of poisoning there, but also with the Khaleesi viruses and other viruses, the rabbit numbers, even though we've got a few rabbits still around, it's not a problem at all compared to what it was 50, 60 years ago.
As I said, over at the rower line, just as you go over on the right, before you go on the gate of the wreck, old Billy, old Punter Hargrave had his skin shop there, and he used to buy skins and all that, because he had one eye, a pair of glasses, and we used to take rabbit skins in there, and he used to stick his belly out like this and hold the scale up here, so that the skin sat on his belly, so he didn't have to pay you so much. So we tricked him. We got some separator spindles and all that, and tied inside the skins. We got a bit of extra money.
Harry, what was the pelt of a rabbit worth in those days?
Oh God, I can't remember, but I know Laurie and I were catching them and selling them. We only had 6p a pair those days, opposite your place. Laurie and I lived out there when Des Phillips bought it off this bank manager, this Richie that was a bank manager. He bought that farm out there, and then he sold it to Des Phillips. When he bought it, it just used to move with rabbits. There was thousands of rabbits there. And old Des, Laurie and I had nowhere to live, and old Des let us go out there and live in the house as long as we caught the rabbits. But we were catching 200 pair a day. We're setting the traps 4 times a day, and we're getting 6p a pair. Old Job from Stawell used to come there, get them. Yeah. So, but, yeah, there's nothing else, I don't think.
Sergi Tognon, who people would remember, I think. He was, we all loved Sergi, and he was in the Mount William Garden for 46 years. And he was married to Doris, who was Doris... Tognon, but she was Doris White. And Doris actually had the world record. What was it? The world record for the fastest rabbit skinner, and she could skin a rabbit in, I don't know if it was 10 or 20 seconds or something. But she was a wonderful girl, and and sadly she died fairly early.